Welcome to the Anxiety Coaches Podcast, a relaxing and informative show where we explore anxiety, panic, and PTSD, sharing how you can overcome them for life.
Aloha! Welcome back to the Anxiety Coaches Podcast. I'm your host and coach, Gina Ryan, and I am so happy to be with you again today as together we can consider the many ways to bring your mind and body back to its natural peace and calm. We offer a number of ways to help you with your journey here at Anxiety Coaches Podcast, and I hope you will take advantage of everything that we offer. Be sure to subscribe to this twice-a-week podcast. I'd also suggest visiting our website where you can sign up for our newsletter, you can listen to the 10-minute body scan meditation, and check out the group and one-on-one coaching options, along with the resources and more information on anxiety. Go to anxietycoachespodcast.com and check all that out today. In today's episode, I want to talk to you about circling the wormhole of anxiety while you're healing. And sometimes we refer to this as experiencing bumps in the road, and oftentimes people feel like it's more than a bump, like they're looking down the wormhole and really afraid all of a sudden that they're going back into their very old ways of anxiety panic. So let's talk about this. Let's get a handle on what's going on so that we don't re-trigger ourselves with fear of going back to being anxious. That is like the last hold that anxiety can have, right? It's like, oh, what if you go back there? Oh my gosh, here you go. And I want to start this podcast off by saying that this is the very long tail of recovery. This is the piece that you won't even know quite that you're out of it for a long time. You'll look back one day and say, I don't even remember the last time I thought about being anxious. So I want you to hang in there with me. This is very important to revisit from time to time because it's a place where we can make ourselves afraid when we're not there. And so I want you to be aware of this in case you encounter it. Those of us who tend to have anxiety or have had anxiety panic often experience this, a revisiting of the wormhole of anxiety panic or the bumps in the road on your journey to recovery. And it's common. It's probably happened to you already. And I want you to know that it's perfectly normal. There's nothing here to get excited about. Anxiety sufferers always suffer bumps along the way. When you get overtired, over-hungry, overstressed, overwhelmed, you are going to, depending where you are in your journey, reignite some of these old ways of dealing. This doesn't mean it's your place to live forever. It just means that you've had a little flare-up, or you've gone down the street that has the wormhole, and now you're looking at it. Or there's this giant bump in the road, and it's really startled you. There's that feeling of, oh my goodness, I didn't expect that. You know, there's a lot of different ways to look at it, but you know what I'm talking about. That feeling of like, where did this come from? I wasn't expecting this. So what we want to remember is that the skills that we learn along the way, along this whole journey, are the things that will prevent us from going down the wormhole of anxiety panic. And it'll prevent the bumps from taking us down. This is our way to hone our skills rather than let the bump in the road be something that startles us or scares us. It can be, instead of being frightened, we can say, oh, I know what this is, and this is where I need to practice my skills. I may have let up on certain things that really help my mind and body to stay in good form and so that I can continue on my healing journey. So this is where we hone these skills. This is where our life is giving us a little tap on the shoulder, reminding us of what we need to do because we've already gathered these things and these skills along the way. What we want to be careful of as we're journeying is avoidance. It's a common defense mechanism and one that will keep you stressed. So don't avoid going down a certain way because you're afraid there's a bump in the road there, or you're afraid that's where the wormhole may be. No, avoidance is a mechanism that keeps us stressed. We think it's going to keep us away from stress, but avoidance is actually a stressor, as the mind and body knows that when you are avoiding, that there must be danger lurking nearby. And it's kind of amazing, but we are incredible beings, and we have things that we are aware of in our thinking, and we have much that goes on in our mind and body that we are not aware of. And these kinds of feelings that something came out of the blue, often it isn't that it came out of the blue. It's just something that we were not conscious of. So I want you to be aware ahead of time that things like avoidance and those other things that we do that we think are keeping us safe are actually our mind and body knows better. And so don't avoid. You may have to pull up your courage to go forward, but you can do it. That's what you've been doing here is learning and getting stronger. So don't avoid. That's one of the things that will keep your mind and body thinking that there is danger nearby, and it must stand guard by keeping that stress response on. When we have these bumps in life, we should not get down on ourselves. Just because we went down that road that had the wormhole in it, and we find ourselves looking at it thinking, how did I get here? Why am I here again? Don't get down on yourself. Don't wonder why. You don't have to figure it out. Just be in that moment and experience it for what it is. It's revisiting an old place or an old challenge, but you are revisiting it as a new being, somebody who has more skills, someone who has much more awareness. These bumps allow us to practice our skills, and life in and of itself will offer us plenty of opportunity to practice. I want to go over a few of the very basic skills today that we talk about often. They're in different podcasts here and there. They're in our skills sheets in the group. They're all over the place. We talk about them bits and pieces, but I want you to remember that whatever skills you've been gathering along this way, that they are yours to keep, and you cannot just get them into your head. This isn't an intellectual practice. We are not learning things by rote here. We are not just going to get information and recall it. We need to practice. We need to practice all of these skills, and we need to practice daily. So I want to get on now with the skills that we have been working on in all of these other podcasts, and kind of just bring it all together so you can maybe take note and have awareness of what you are and maybe what you're not working on. Because skills are like a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. And often we hear and understand or even intellectually get it, right, around the skills and the things that we talk about here. All of the things that are needed. But just like building a physical muscle, you have to drop it all down into the body and do it. Can't keep it all up in your head. This isn't an intellectual pursuit. What we need to do is drop it all down into the body and do it. And this is what we call practice. Maybe in the gym with your physical muscles, you call it a workout. When we are working on our skills to lead us out of anxiety, panic, and away from that wormhole for good, we call it practice. So I want to check in with you guys and see if you're practicing. Are you practicing your meditation and prayer? Are you practicing exercise and movement? How about nutrition? Watching your foods, watching what you can have. Everybody's different. And this can be another place that we just don't connect with our anxiety, right? Some other ones are laughter and joy. Are you practicing smiling and laughter and joy? Are you practicing physical connection with others? Meaning, are you, like I said earlier, with every plate, are you cooking with family members or roommates? Are you incorporating others into your world? Are you having physical connection? Are you hugging? Are you with other people and making eye contact? And the final one I want to mention today is, are you having your sleep hygiene as a practice? Sleep hygiene, getting that sleep routine down can be so helpful and so important for your waking hours. All of this matters. These basic skills help to clear the path for the body, mind, and spirit to do what they do to keep us on even keel. Now, we think we need ABC, the list of things to do. 10 things to eliminate anxiety, panic forever. But it doesn't work that way. Our mind and body know what to do. And what we need to do is get out of the way. So these basic skills that we talk about in all the other shows, I know we talk about all of these things I just mentioned. It's a way for us to let the mind, body, and spirit do what it needs to do to keep us going. And what it does is it helps to get us out of the way so that the healing can take place, because we really are the obstacle. We are what is holding. It's like we're trying to push a river. We're in there at the water. We're trying to push it upstream. A lot of what we're doing and spending our time and energy on are not working. They're not accomplishing anything, but we're doing it because we think it's helpful, because we think that this is our normal response is this anxious feeling. But once we get out of the way, the mind and body will calm down and go back to that place of peace and calm in the parasympathetic nervous system. Do you guys ever think you're the only one with these particular experiences of stress? You certainly are not. It is totally not true. Anyone can experience anxiety, stress, overwhelm, and perhaps even find themselves in the perfect storm and down the wormhole of anxiety, panic. Even the toughest people have fears. And what we know is that it is not the fears, it is not the challenges, it is not the stress in our lives that takes us down. It is our reaction to it, our response to life that is the place that has gotten us into trouble. Anyone can enter anxiety, panic, and anyone can learn the skills to overcome anxiety, panic. I know this not only because I did it, but because hundreds and thousands of people that I have worked with have done the same thing. And what's interesting in our group is that once people feel better, quite often they leave. Not everybody leaves right away, but it's kind of funny because everybody is thinking, well, where is everybody that's doing so well? They're not thinking about their anxiety anymore. Like I said earlier, there will be a time when you would look back and say, I don't even remember the last time I thought about anxiety. Believe me, it's true. anxiety coaching and the group experience, all of those things, being with your therapist, clergy, whoever it is that you talk to about your anxiety with, these are valuable. It's very valuable because it provides you with validation of your humanity, your common humanity. You are not different than other people. It's just this isn't talked about a lot in public. Just like many things in our lives, we don't discuss everything. So just know, just because you don't talk about it a lot with other people, you're not the only one with this. And if so many other people can find their way out, you can too. And with this in mind, we can access the space and the inner resources that we need to heal. When we know that it is not just us, it is the common humanity that we all share, that we have fear, that we maybe are reacting inappropriately, we can learn how to change our reaction into a response that works for us. We have to learn how to respond with awareness versus reacting out of habit. And the bumps and any circling of the wormhole makes it possible again for us to use the skills that we learned and get stronger every time we use them. So the next time you find yourself circling the wormhole or falling down because of a huge bump in the road, I want you to remember this isn't a problem. This is just another opportunity for me to use my skills. Where, like in that list that I read earlier, where am I not paying attention in that list? Where have I dropped off? Because often the things that got us into a healthy place, we stop doing once we feel better. And then it may catch up with us again. It may start to ball up again. So go back and look and see, where do I need to brush up on my skills? And one thing you can do is keeping track of where you are through using a journal or a favorite digital note keeper like OneNote or Evernote. And my favorite is Trello, because it's really handy on your phone or your computer. And then you can, have a little, maybe just you write one line a day or give yourself a number. Some people like to track things by numbers. And then in time, you can look back and see. And I know you're going to see not only improvement as you go along, maybe not day by day, but week by week, month by month, you're going to see improvement. And you will also see cycles and common threads. And all of these things, there's all this awareness. If you're jotting down a few notes about how you're feeling each day, all of this can be useful and looking at those common threads, if you can look at it with a non-judgmental approach. You can do this even if it feels bumpy along the way. You can do this, so keep going. I hope this show has been helpful for you today. I enjoy thinking about what I'm going to talk with you about. So if you have something on your mind that you would like to hear discussed, then please send an email to anxietycoachespodcast@gmail.com and we'll put it in the queue. Before I read today's quote, I was wondering if you prefer the show without ads, or perhaps you might like to have access to the entire back catalog of over 600 episodes. Maybe you'd like some bonus meditation episodes. All of that and more are available for $5 a month with our premium Supercast membership. Go to anxietycoaches.supercast.com and join us ad-free today. The link will be in the show notes. And now for today's quote. Be of good cheer. Do not think of today's failures, but of the success that may come tomorrow. You have set yourself a difficult task, but you will succeed if you persevere, and you will find a joy in overcoming obstacles. And that's from Helen Keller. I'll be back in a few more days with another podcast. Until then, be well and aloha.
Thanks so much for joining us for today's episode of the Anxiety Coaches Podcast. Find more information at theanxietycoachespodcast.com.